Step into Abundance 360 podcast. I'm your host, Sophia Ao, DTM. Step into Abundance 360 podcast is a bilingual radio program in which focuses on creating a more abundant mindset with the sense of possibilities and security. And to live is abundant fullness of joy and strength for your mind, body, and soul. In this podcast, I will be interviewing the entrepreneurs, professionals, and elite from all walks of life in our community. And we can all learn and get inspired from them. Eventually, we can take things to the next level and push the success and abundance of your business and lifestyle even further. And now, let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Step into Abundance 360 podcast. This is our 16th episode. And many people wonder, what is abundance? What is it really about? To be honest, it is about a mindset. It is about shifting our internal blueprint mentalities by which we live in a lack basis. Nothing is ever enough perspective to an abundance base. I have enough perspective. And today I have a very good guest from the state, Inka Nisinbaum. She is a perfect example on how to change the mindset and overcome all the challenges in life. Inka was born with a genetic disease with a life expectancy of 4 years. However, she made it through with her willpower. And in 2013, he was the first woman to give birth after a double lung and liver transplant. She is a published author in Germany. She aimed to spread her motto of making your impossible possible. To be successful, you need to build your resilience and overcome all the obstacles in life.
Hi, Sophia. Thank you for inviting me, and hello, everybody else who is listening. I don't have much to add. You already introduced me perfectly.
Really? Thank you so much. So I know that my introduction is kind of like very brief, right? So do you have anything to add, or do you have anything you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, most of the important things you already said. I can maybe just add that I'm originally from Germany, which probably everybody can hear by my accent. But I'm living in the States already since more than 10 years. And yes, I'm a published author in Germany, and writing is my passion, something that I have to do to stay sane. But I also have a master in psychology, and right now I'm actually a German teacher in the United States. And I was born with cystic fibrosis, which is, as Sophia said, a genetic disease, and I inherited it from my parents, who are both healthy but carry the gene. So I had the bad luck to get a bad gene copy from both of them. So that's why I got sick. And and then as Sophia said, life expectancy was 4 years. That's what the doctors back then guessed. But I made it actually to the age of 22. And that was when I was listed for my double lung and liver transplant. And as you can see, I also overcame that obstacle and even gave birth to a healthy, crazy little boy.
I like your attitude, Inka.
You have to have a good attitude.
You have good energy, and you're kind of influence people around you.
I hope so. Yeah.
So could you tell us, how do you overcome all those challenging in your life? It is not easy, right?
No, it's not easy. I would say most of it is I didn't have any other chance. When you are sick, you just deal with it. And I was born with CF. I didn't knew any other life. So I always knew the challenges that came with it. And also what my parents taught me. So they taught me, live as normal as you can, enjoy every day, and just make the best out of it. I was never treated special. I was always treated as everybody else. So I think that also helped. And Yeah, and over time to keep a positive mindset, to not be sad about the things I might not have or I have to overcome, but to be happy about the things I do have and I did overcome.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is very important to have a gratitude, to be thankful
Yes,
for what you have. So could you
exactly.
describe a near-death experience that touched your heart and changed your perspective of life?
Yes, I mean, I had a couple of those, but, but one sticks out, and it was almost a year after my transplant. I had a bowel obstruction, which is kind of common with cystic fibrosis and is extremely painful and also extremely dangerous. And I was actually flown to the hospital, to my hospital that transplanted me, and there they almost forgot about me. So my mom had to yell in the hall. So finally a doctor came and said, "Oh, this is not good. We have to operate immediately." And I mean, that was a near-death experience, but back then in that situation, I was so in pain. I didn't care about death or anything. I just wanted to get rid of the pain. But afterwards, when I was back home, I fell in a very deep hole because I kind of had the feeling, because I survived my transplant, now life should be, I should have some security in life. And then all of a sudden, from one day to another, I was on the operating table. They cut me open from top to bottom. And I had to fight for my life. And that was difficult for me to comprehend, that even though you survived your transplant, it can still be finished within, a couple of hours. You can still be done within a couple of hours. And I had a lot of problems in how to keep on living with this. And back then I said, I don't know what I'm even doing here. Why am I even giving effort when in the end, I will anyway die, and maybe even, next week, who knows? So I always said God had sent me back, but he had forgotten to tell me why, because that's how I felt. And that was the first time that a friend of mine told me, you know what you're doing wrong. You only look at the stuff that is unhealthy. You need to look at the stuff that is healthy, that you can do already. And that was very difficult back then. I was still very sick and very fragile, I would say. But I worked hard on this. And every day I wrote in my diary things that I could do. And it was things like I was able to walk up the stairs without dying halfway. I was able to walk the dog and breathing while doing it. So tiny, tiny steps. But I kept doing that. And over time, this experience really changed my mindset, that I don't see myself as a sick person anymore. I first of all see myself healthy and transplanted, but still I'm healthy. Yeah, that was the first steps I took towards this because of this horrible bowel obstruction.
Yeah, we know that like life always gives you something unexpected. If life gives you a lemon, make a lemonade, right? It is something that we
Exactly.
really say it. So really, we have to change our mindset and be positive and make something
Yes.
out of it. So may I wonder, have you figured out your reason why?
Why God had sent me back?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I could say now because I'm a mom. So, if I wouldn't have been sent back, our kid wouldn't be there. I don't know. I mean, I could say no because I inspire a lot of people, because I show that you can, if you believe in something, you can very often reach it, even though everybody around you tells you, no, this is not possible. But I don't know if that is my reason. I don't know. It sounds so big. No, I haven't figured it out. But there is apparently a reason, because I'm still here. So that's good enough for me.
we are looking forward to hear more story from you in your book, sharing
Yeah.
how you can influence people. You just said that you talk with people, you communicate with people, and you influence people. And what makes you feel powerful?
Oh, what makes me feel powerful? So multiple things. I mean, of course, the things that I had overcome in regards to health, but I think mostly that I always, at least as of now, was able to bounce back up, to believe in myself. I had this very often that doctors told me, this and this you can't do, or this and this won't work. Or I had actually in 2019, like 1.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with a chronic rejection. Yeah, exactly. It was like oh my God. I mean, I was terrified at first. I had lost 1 liter of my lung function. I felt horrible. So yeah, that was a big bummer. And then I said, no, you know what? I'm not accepting this. And I started to exercise again. I mean, to run again, because I had signed up with a friend for a half marathon 3 months later. So I was like, okay, I'm not accepting it. I'm going to train and I'm going to run that half marathon. And I show them that I don't have a chronic rejection. So just by being stubborn, this is exactly what I did. I mean, I started to train, and then 3 months later, I ran the half marathon with my friend. And then another year later, after this diagnosis, my lung function was even better than it was before. This is what makes me feel powerful, that, you know, if you set your mind to it, you can make your impossible possible, hopefully. And this is also what I like to show others. You know, just because you get a diagnosis or because others doubt you, even if it's doctors or friends or whoever, doesn't necessarily mean that they're right.
Yeah, I think it's very important to listen to our inner voice. Whether you really just accept the fact that you can't do, or you really want to try to do your best to fight for what you want.
Exactly.
So, yeah, the
And
sky has...
I knew I don't have a chronic rejection, and I knew I'm going to show them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really admire your determinations to
Yeah.
fight and committed to do what you really want. So,
Yes.
along your journey, do you have any toughest decisions you ever made?
Oh, yeah. So one tough decision that I made was during my waiting time for my transplant. I waited 15 months. I was very, very sick back then. I mean, I was transplanted in the end of December, and we all of us knew on Christmas that I won't make it to another Christmas if I don't get organs. So I was really in a bad shape. And like, I don't know, 3 months before my transplant, I think the doctors suggested that they list me high urgency, so that I basically jump up the list of waiting. But then you have to wait in the hospital, and you still don't know when you will be transplanted, right? It could be next week, it could be in a year, you just don't know. And I just thought, I cannot wait in the hospital for a time that I don't know how long it will last. I thought I will go crazy. So I said, no, I'll wait on the normal list. That will make my waiting longer, and that might risk that I die without getting the chance to be transplanted. But I wanted to at least stay, you know, as happy as I could until my death, or until I got the chance to be transplanted. So that was a tough decision to make back then. And the other one, I think, was that when I decided to get pregnant, because none of my doctors supported it. I mean, nobody. I only heard you could die, it's high risk, nobody knows what will happen. And I mean, they were all right with it. Nobody knew what would happen, but I didn't get any support from any of the doctors. So it was all me and my husband basically to decide, do we want to risk it? Do I want to risk my health for a baby? I mean, I was doing fine, and I didn't know if I would make it. So yeah, I still cannot say how I got to make this decision. I think it's probably because you always believe it will happen to others. You will be fine, just because you're oblivion to the things that actually could happen. But yeah, that was not an easy decision, to risk your healthy life for basically just a baby that I would wanted one, but I mean, it wasn't, my life didn't depend on it. So yeah, that was a tough decision, and luckily I'm still here to tell the tale. So
Yeah. We have the honor to hear your real story about it. And I think it is the love of motherhood, right? To protect your kid, protect your family. And that is true, and it is authentic. And I think people can get the most powerful will from it.
yeah, it was first this. I mean, it sounds a little bit lame, but kind of, this is what you are supposed to do as a woman, even though, I mean, I have friends who don't have children, but I felt like, there's so many things that I can't do. And then I felt like, if I also cannot have a kid, I mean, kind of like, what am I good for? I mean, it's stupid, but that's a little bit how I felt. Yeah. And then, yeah, once you get pregnant, then I was anywhere. I would have done anything to, to carry this child.
Yeah, we
See
are
it
so
healthy.
proud of you, Inka. So, going back to your transplant, you said that you have waited for 15 months, right?
Yes.
For the whole, incidents, how much did it cost? Is it paid by the government or what? Like, how did it operate?
So luckily, I was transplanted in Germany and not in the US. So yeah, we have a general health system. It's basically, not the government, but the health insurance paid for it. So, everybody has to pay, how do you say, based on your income, you pay every year to the health insurance. So people like me can have, big procedures done. No, I didn't have to pay anything for it.
Wow, that's very good. Like, you are protected and everyone's protected. So if someone is in need, they can get the protections first. So that's very good. That's very good scheme. I would further asking about one questions about, we mentioned the word before, death. So what does it mean to you? What does death means to you? It is maybe in Asia, it is a word that we tend to avoid. We talk about happiness, we talk about prosperity, we often to skip the word death, but it is very important because everyone has an end. So what does it mean to you?
That is absolutely true. During my waiting time, when I really sick, so death meant a little bit like, if it gets too hard, this is my way out, out of suffering. So it was a little bit like the Joker card in my hand. If I can't take it anymore, then I'm just gonna stop living and be done with it. So that made me always stay stronger because I knew I still have a way out. Yeah, and that made me hold on tighter to life, I think. Now it's a little bit different because, I'm a mom, so I definitely don't want to meet death anytime soon because of my child. But death, it's part of life. So I know that also I will die eventually, and probably sooner than other people in my position. So I still have a limited life expectancy, and I know that. And time will come, and I think I can also make my peace with this. And in the meantime, my kid is almost 7, so he is still very little. But we talk about death. So, we visited a cemetery, and because I want him to know, as much as he is able right now, but I want him to know if his mom dies, that it's still going to be okay, that it will be sad, of course, but that I will still be with him because he is 50% me, and that I still love him, and that we have all these memories. So that's what I always say, all the memories that we collect, this is my fighting death, because also death can't take those memories. So whatever we experience now, he will have forever. I like to talk about death.
You like to talk about that? Yeah, it is very, I think it is very important lessons for everyone, because we always prepare for birthday, we celebrate, but how about that? It is something really happen, right? So I really appreciate that you communicate with your son about this.
Yeah, and children in general, they are so cool about it. He is like, he's so fine with it. The other day, he said to me, he had about age, a dog of a friend died, and the dog was old. And then he asked me, so how old are you? And then I said, well, I'm 41. And then he was like, wow, mama, this is old. And then he was thinking for a moment, and then he said, you gotta get going. Like, it's about to end. You're already really old.
That's interesting. That's very interesting conversations.
But kids are normally very cool about it.
Yeah, I agree. When we know there's a stop, there's an end, and now we will treasure the time that we are spending with our family. We don't take everything for granted. We will be thankful.
Yes, you cherish the situations maybe a little bit more.
So what is your most cherished things in your life?
Oh, I think mostly the moments I have with my kid. Yes, this is my most cherished things. And also, again, especially because I know there is an end to it. So yeah, I cherish those especially because I know there might be a sudden end to those memories. So yeah, every memory is special. We were talking about vacation this year because of Corona, and then we decided to actually do a vacation. We went with a camper around the US and stayed in camping places. And I was first a little bit worried, but eventually I cannot sit at home and just wait it out because I'm losing this time. So yeah, I'm very happy we did it eventually because yeah, it was an amazing time and we have amazing memories and amazing pictures and videos that he can look at later on.
So it is very important, no matter how worse the environment, the situation is, make a change.
Yeah, at least still live, I mean, as much as you can with some limitations, but at least for me, I cannot now sit on the sofa and just wait till it's kind of safe again to go outside. I don't have the time.
That's very good attitude. Yeah. And as you know that like in 2020, people have been experienced a whole different things in this world. We have COVID and then we have a lot of things unexpected. So some people, they may find it hard to adopt and embrace. So do you have any tips or do you have any message for people out there to inspire them to adopt and to live in the moment? Do you have any tips?
The only tip I have is, though it's very limited. I mean, it's not like, this is how you should structure your day and then everything is going to be great because, I only know my life. But what I do, and I've been doing this already for almost 3 years, post on Facebook and on Instagram, what I'm grateful for. Kind of grew on me over the years. I'm really enjoying this because every day I look back and look for, okay, what was special today? What did I enjoy very much? And sometimes it's big things like publishing a new book. That is a big thing I would be grateful for. And sometimes it's just stuff like I had 10 minutes of silence without kid or without husband where I could drink a coffee and read 3 pages in a book. And sometimes I'm grateful for that. And that is just, there's always something nice during the day, even if everything falls apart. I mean, I know by myself, if I'm in the hospital or I have a chronic rejection or whatever, but there was still always something that I thought, oh yeah, that was nice today. At least I enjoy this, concentrating again on the positive, even if it's just a cup of coffee or something big, always something you can find.
Yeah, no matter it's small or big, always something that happens in your life and be grateful for it.
Yeah.
And along your journey, is there something people seems to misunderstand about you?
Yes, definitely. And it's mostly people who are in a similar situation like me, who are also transplanted, and doctors. So other patients and doctors sometimes misunderstand my way of living as like being reckless or not paying enough attention to the needs I have, to stay healthy, like taking my medication, all this stuff. And the reason why people sometimes think I just, I take it easy, I'm not serious about my transplant, staying healthy, keeping it safe, is because I decide for myself. So of course I want to have feedback from my doctors. I want to hear from them what they think is the right course or right action, what I should do, what I shouldn't do. But in the end, I decide. I don't jump because my doctor tells me to jump. So I have a head and I like to use it. And yes, sometimes my decisions are unorthodox, but it's because I know my body and I think I can feel what I can do and what I can't do. Like the pregnancy. Okay, the pregnancy I wasn't also 100% sure, but all my doctors said no, but I knew, okay, this is what I want to do. I know the risks. I know that I'm risking my life literally. But yes, I didn't do it, I don't care, everything will be fine. I knew about the risks. So from my point of view, I wasn't reckless. I'm living my life as I think I should live it. And I do pay attention very much to my health needs, but not always what the doctors tell me is the right course for me. And this, I think, sometimes is misunderstood, also by doctors, because they want the patient to follow what they say.
Yeah. I think they might be feeling frustrated when the patient is not following what they have instructed, right? But however, I think it is really our right to live on our own term. So
exactly, it's my life, so I decide.
Yeah, definitely. And if you could turn back to the time and talk to younger self, like 18, 13, 15, what would you say and what would you tell little Inka?
So first of all, I can tell you, little Inka would probably not listen. If somebody would come and tell her, listen, this is how you need to do it. No, you know what? I thought about this question. What would I tell myself? And then eventually, I think I would decide I wouldn't tell myself anything, because even if I did wrong decisions throughout my journey, or I thought, man, I could have decided that, like, I don't know, 5 years earlier, if I would have known, that was the time that I needed to come to that decision. So I think everything that happened, also the bad stuff, or had a reason for me to get where I am now and to make all the experiences good and bad. So the only thing I think I would tell myself is, when you are 41, don't chase second, third graders in school so you won't break your arm. This is my only thing. Because I broke my arm 2 months ago and in a million pieces, so very bad. And yeah, I think I could have lived without this experience. Yes.
Yeah, it is the little thing, the experience that, really fulfill your whole life and make your whole experience fruitful.
Exactly. I mean, I am who I am because of what I experienced, and I like myself, so I wouldn't want to change that.
Yeah, totally. And how about this? If you have a chance to say something to one person, what would you say and to whom?
Oh, to one person that I normally don't have access to?
Whoever. You can tell your friend, family, or someone that you really want to communicate. And what would you say?
Oh, wow.
That is surprising, right?
Yeah, that was like, whoosh. Not having a special person in mind, so I think I would want to tell everybody, kind of, believe in yourself. Don't let other people tell you you can't do this, you can't do this, you won't succeed in it. Or especially children, students who've been told, well, you're not good in English or in geography or whatever, you will never make it in this occupational field. Don't believe any of them. Whatever you want to do, you will do. I mean, I was always very bad in English. I mean, really, really bad. I struggled with the language and thought I will never be able to live anywhere outside of Germany because I won't be able to communicate at all. And I mean, look at me now.
You're teaching,
Yeah.
So everything is possible.
Exactly. If you want it, if you feel this is your path, yeah, and never give up, because you never know. You give 3 steps further, you might have reached what you wanted to reach. So yeah, just be stubborn. Yes.
Be stubborn, yeah. I like this term, be stubborn. Yeah, I think I have similar scenario with you, Inka. I'm not very good at, speaking English. I joined a organization called Toastmaster before. My English standards wasn't very good. And at one time, I was the MC. I have to pronounce the name. But when I was nervous, I always misspell and mispronounce. One time I was saying, one of my guests is called Agnes, and I call it Angus. Angus beef. And because I was nervous and people still, making fun of it. Oh, you call my name as a food, as a beef. I just realized something. If I hesitate at that time and never try again, maybe I just give up my passion on public speaking. However, it's just be stubborn and, you make a mistake and then try again.
Exactly. This is also, you will fall down a million times. Everybody has, you have, I have, everybody who is like famous and successful, they fell down a million times. But the difference is that they didn't give up.
Be resilient.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's why, because I found you on LinkedIn and I found your story is very motivative to others, especially this year people are facing something that out of our imagination. We never thought that we have COVID, and from this year beginning, and we are still kind of experience it. So it is very important to have your story and share with others, share with our listener, and hopefully they can get the motivation and inspiring story from you and message from you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. It sounds so easy. It also took me a lot of work not to doubt myself, and I still doubt myself, also my health, but I can switch it off quicker, I think.
Yeah. Kind of now you kind of develop a sense, right? You sense that, oh, maybe I'm thinking about something negative, and you switch back. And it is what we say, it is all about your mindset. Whether it is abundance, whether it is you have a negative mindset. Once you notice it, and then you switch back. So it is something that we really appreciate. Finally, the final question is, I know that Inka, you have written 3 books. The 4th book is coming up. So our audience, they might want to contact you and keep in touch with you for further information. So how can they find you online?
I think the easiest is to type in my name, Inka Nisinbaum, and either on Facebook or on LinkedIn or on Instagram, even Instagram. So on Facebook, as I said, I post every day what I'm grateful for. And on LinkedIn is all my occupational information. But both ways is a good way to contact me.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope that we can have more news about your 4th book and we can all learn from you. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Thank you for listening to this week's episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, keep learning and live in abundance. I will see you next time.